hand over to Professor Andrew Collins from the UK. Andrew Collins is co-chair of the old IPIC commission, and the new with a much longer name I created but I've forgotten. And this was the results of our last work in Freetown 2 years ago on climate change, disasters, sustainability, transition, and peace in the Anthropocene. Yeah, so we have each time published 1 or 2 books. And Andrew Collins is Professor of Disaster and Development and leader of the Disaster and Development Network at Northumbria University. He is trained, I think, as a geographer, and research based on a range of countries informs theoretical, methodological, and policy aspects of disaster risk reduction and response, health ecology and sustainable developments, which addresses crisis and well-being in rapid and slow onset environmental and social and political change using people-centric approaches and multi-sector partnering. This is just an abstract of a more complex biography. Andrew, you have the word.
Okay, thank you very much.
15 minutes. Yeah,
sure. Okay. And great pleasure to get this opportunity in preliminary run to introduce this topic. So this little quick background is 2 years ago in the last IPRA conference, we brought together a working group on conflict and risk, together with the Peace Ecology existing commission. And I think our contribution last time was to on the sort of risk and disaster side of that equation. I'm really pleased to see that these two things come together. So today I'm looking at the topic of measuring future survivability. This involves a certain amount of comment about risk, the future, where we understand the future, and our attempts to actually measure it or not. I see this as actually also fundamental to, if you like, future peace in the measure we can do this. I'll explain that as we go forward. So this has been introduced already, I come from this sort of background, integrating disaster issues with development issues. So basically, whenever you hear me say the word disaster, I'm talking about any type of disruption beyond normal life, which is beyond our normal capacity to adjust. So this will include environmental type of events, but also conflict. So we refer to conflict and disaster risk avoidance or prevention. So this is just a bit of context, and the outline for the talk I'll summarize as follows. So these different ingredients hopefully will come through in the short time I will speak. I think the current measurement of future disaster risk and sustainable quality of life is fairly fundamental. I'm not going to say a lot on this first point, other than if you've read the latest, or at least heard of, or just seen some bullets from the latest ICCP report, International Climate Change Program. So the IPCC, that's the International Panel on Climate Change, or any other type of sort of global Earth-watching type of initiative, you'll notice that the language is getting very urgent and very drastic and pretty serious. So consequently, we need to be thinking about how we're going to measure that, but how are we going to get action to actually intervene in it. So I've got some reflections on this question of measuring it, which is the sort of sub-detail I'm talking about today. But my own background in measuring as a surveyor originally, looking at physical space, trying to get things to fit, that was a long time ago when I just started work mapping things. I eventually had great privilege to be able to start researching other aspects of life, for example, infectious disease distributions. And this taught me very quickly that measurement is actually not about physical space so much, sometimes it's social space, and so on. And as you can see from the title presented today, then I think measurement then involves dealing with things to do with the future or uncertainty. So there are global institutions being established now to look at things like the risk of future disasters, to try and work out what can be measured. But we haven't made that much progress really when it comes to assessing what sort of data is relevant and what can be measured. Many aspects of what we're now looking at can't actually be measured, particularly if you're looking into the future. So we need other types of learning to be able to understand that. And that's really what I'm currently working on, is how we can get this sort of more reflective learning and practice, or our conjectures of what might be and how we can avoid disasters, to be a sort of form of action data. So data that is actually for action and brings about change, rather than more and more predictions of what might happen. And then there's some conclusions come out of that. So that's the presentation in a nutshell, which is, so I've said all my main little comments, and now I have the luxury of the rest of the time before the bell goes off to put a bit more detail onto what I've been saying. So just to go back over some of this then, I think as we look into the future, we're dealing with this question of uncertainty, but yet most of our data and measurement, of course, is based on what's happened previous. As we look forward, we end up in a realm of subjectivity of communicated risks, which are subject to many, many different interpretations. The investment into predicting into the future are largely about doing more, and more the notion that the more information we have, the better we'll be. Unfortunately, this doesn't seem to be the case. We're in the age of big data now. We have an ever-expanding amount of data and information all over the world that couldn't have been predicted 20 years ago. But we're not seeing change sufficient enough to be able to avoid major disasters. So there's a point at which information drops off. Its relevance actually starts to become less important. And there's some sort of cost-benefit analysis could be done like along these lines. Let's not worry too much about the actual shapes of the graphs. It's just sort of trying to demonstrate the point that as you get more information and more data, then the costs actually go down. You can now buy how many gigabytes for very little money compared to what it would have cost you some years ago. The costs go down on information and data, but the benefits initially are very high. We increase access to more people, to more information, more data, more learning, more education. This is a good thing, but there's a point at which actually it starts to drop off. Maybe there is some sort of threshold at which we just saturate information and data, but not enough action. So this is where it points towards the need for some sort of, well, we know about action research in the sort of academic research realms, but we're not seeing perhaps a lot of this action data, where the data actually brings about change. So the quality of the data is important. It's got to be useful. I think we have known this for quite a long time, that it's got to serve in decision making, and it's got to be informed by evidence-based research. Is of course a good thing, and we want continuous evaluation. At the global level, we've got now the Sendai framework for disaster risk reduction, 2050, 2030, and the big discussion around this now, having everybody just recovered from the fact we even got something like this in the world 2 to 3 years ago, that the big sort of challenge now is, well, how do you actually implement it? This is excellent. It's full of great ideas. Nations of the world saying the right sorts of things about avoiding ultimate disasters in the future, including through cooperation between countries and for peace. This is in here, the Sendai framework, and it goes into some of the details of what the different components are, as do the Sustainable Development Goals and other international agreements. How do we monitor, how do we measure, but how do we bring about change? So there's some work going on about how do we now monitor this, so that when we get to 2030, many of us probably won't be here, but as we get to 2030, future generations beyond that as well, we're able to say, well, we can see what has changed. So quite a bit of investment now into trying to measure change in that sort of way against indicators. Again, I'd say this is a positive thing, but it has its limitations. So this is the guiding principles of the Sendai framework. Disaster risk reduction requires a multi-hazard approach and includes risk-informed decision-making. That means measurement and data. It goes into some detail about disaggregation. At least let's have it disaggregated by sex, age, disability, and so forth. Okay, so this is some progress in terms of this measurement question. Substantial reductions of disaster risk and losses in lives is one of the main principles. Here I meant to highlight the word actually, but losses. So what we tend to measure is loss. So most of the monitoring exercise are about measuring mortality, for example, and if we see less people are dying in disasters, that's a big step forward. It is, but remember, of course, we want to not just survive, but to thrive. And on the thrive question, much more complicated, and we're not making much progress yet from what I can see, but we are getting much, much better at disaster response. Recognize fit-for-purpose measurement then. So loss-related is about impact monitoring. I'm not trying to say any one of these is not important, the other one's important. I'm trying to say they're all important, and perhaps it's quite a useful exercise to think about these different ingredients. So the second one, though, is more risk-related, because risk is equal to hazards plus vulnerability to the hazards, your exposure. Of course, vulnerability is your personal susceptibility as much as anything in socioeconomic context, and it depends on how much capacity we have to offset that. So the measurement is more about, is much more possibilistic, more open when we talk about the risk-related type of measurement, but it's harder to do. There's uncertainty involved, big gaps in information, a lot of guesswork, and unpredictable things happen. The other type of data and measurement then is our capacity to deal with this, and that's the last bullet. So what I think one of my key points are hopefully trying to sort of make some advances on going forward in some of the roles that we're fortunate to have at this stage in my life, is to advise somewhat on data. I'm not a data nerd. Probably a good thing, because I think that might mean I will go down a certain interpretation of data. I'm actually just facilitating the process with lots of people involved. And I think, we see data as, it's okay, it is numeric, but it's also narrative and it's visual. And data's got to be something that people own, and it's got to be collected in a participatory manner as well. Data ultimately has to be a voice to be of any use at all in this particular area of work which we represent across this whole risk, disasters, peace, ecology framework. So that is the sort of an avenue, or one of the entrance points into the subject area through this idea of action data which will bring change. It's not entirely new. There's been people asking about data in this related field for a long time. For example, in early warning systems, there's different ways of collecting data from satellites, mapping, and from speaking to people, listening to people, from doing economic analysis, and so forth. These are just a list of some of the ways we collect data. But the questions, as I say, get difficult when we start to think about measurement for change or action data. So this list here is also from the sort of early warning conundrum, because we got more and more information about what might happen, or even when it will happen, where it happened, and with who it will happen. We don't necessarily do anything about it. And what are the reasons for that? Sometimes it may be political decision making, it may be lack of behavior change, it may be lack of knowledge, but sometimes the communication process itself is the problem. So we hear information, we pick up data, we have to understand it, we have to believe in it, we have to personalize it, we have to confirm it through our actions, and then make decisions and respond accordingly. Sounds straightforward, so this is where it comes from, but in fact you're dealing now in a complex domain. So just to finish off, I'm not sure how many minutes I have, but these last few slides are just to sort of give some idea of, I think, where we can go with this. Responding to measurement, the measurement conundrum in disaster risk, forced conditions, and for survivability, like reflecting a bit one of the themes here in the conference. And I think this also is about innovation, which is actually the main meta theme of this event. How are we going to do that? So I've got just these 3 or 4 slides to finish off on this, and some of it is based on work which is reasonably well established but needs to now go further, and some which is really guesswork. So people's engagement with risk reduction through improved well-being. I think we know that nobody, myself included, will engage with future risks effectively unless it's relevant to my day-to-day experience. So if we invest in well-being, and that includes peace building, then we motivate people into actions which they wouldn't otherwise have time to do, because there's an immediate benefit now for, as well as for future generations. So this is a different type of sort of early warning and action type of system, which focuses on improving well-being, or promoting sustainable development, or promoting peace and security at the local level, etc. Things that affect people here and now. This builds knowledge and capacity of the process. People become more resilient, and eventually you can do whatever your ultimate objective might be to, for example, take actions about the future as a result of that process. So let's say that happens in some sort of, not in a vacuum, but in a sort of cultural space where we have beliefs, ideas, values and knowledge, which will vary from place to place and over time, but nonetheless motivate is the sort of key issue involved. So we've got some ideas there. This other thing I suppose we can work with is the idea that there are different routes to reducing disaster threats, having a more stable world in the future. And the measurement choices, if we get obsessed with measurement, then we would take this right corner route, which is to never-ending obsession with trying to reduce uncertainty, trying to predict, trying to measure everything. If we do that, we may contribute something, but what we are doing is possibly taking a much slower route than perhaps the top left right, which might be to act now and take control of things, even based on sometimes big gaps in knowledge. Probably a sensible route is somewhere through the middle there. That might be the shortcut, where we invest in both. So we need science, technology, we need the behavior change, we need the political adjustments on sensitivities to these issues as well. So we get increased, we have more control, we increase controllability, and we are more stable and sure about survivability of future generations. This is the second to last slide, and there's too many words in this to go through them all, but I think there are principles derived from measuring the nature of future survivability which we can draw on, and many of these are not unique to this. I'm seeing these sorts of ideas coming through in other people's talks and presentations, looking at angles at slightly different subjects. So I think there's sort of quite a lot of generalist type of principle sort of knowledge here, but it's something that really needs to be pushed. So we need measurement and data which is formed by real and perceived threats. It's got to be people-centered, to get the motivational aspects and the relevancy. It's got to be also practitioner-orientated, proactively engaged, and guided where possible by lessons learned, but also other types of learning related to localized knowledge, and it's got to be invested in. I end on this one for my measuring of the nature of future survivability comment, and it is further conclusions and implications, I think, through trying to look at this data for action. I stress the data part because I think that's what some of the sort of global treaties things are going to need, and it's a sort of way in. When we say data, we can also mean information and awareness, but let's stick with the data for the moment. So data for action and action data are two slightly different things. So if we've got the data available, but then action data is living the data as a voice, and having data affect change. It's so this can bring also can answer some questions of accountability, visibility. So whose data are we talking about? Data which is often missed. Data from locations or people that don't necessarily have avenues or ways of transmitting data, or their data is not considered to be data, but we say all information is a form of data, just depending on what context you put it into. So how best to use the existing data and transform it into action data, and to use this for ongoing sort of dealing with unknown risks of the future more effectively, and it points to a more in-depth awareness of the importance of data hitherto unexamined, so as to avert disasters. This is the sort of flavor of what I like to present.
Thank you very much, Andrew. We immediately hand over to Professor Amar Nayak. You need to use PowerPoint? Yeah. Okay. So I just have a few minutes till he's set up to introduce him. He is a full-time professor of strategic management at the Bhargava Institute of Management in Bhubaneswar, the flagship business school of his university. He engages in research, teaching, training, and policy advice to various organizations and institutions, including UN agencies, the government of India, state governments, corporations, non-profit organizations, and others on transition strategies for rebuilding sustainable community systems. He uses both deductive and inductive methods of research and adopts action research in rural communities from a design and systems perspective to test his hypotheses and theories. Amar, you have the word.
10 minutes?
15 minutes.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah?
It's a great privilege to be here. I'm not a peace researcher. It's just the invitation of hands that I have this privilege to be with you and listen to you, to your research work. What I'm going to do is, I've been engaging on some of this work. I'm actually a professor of international business, but the last 10 years I've moved closer to the social sector, and that's how the work has begun. My job today is to actually what Kodama-san was referring to, the issue of how. That has been the challenge. How do we do it? We have a lot of intellectual thoughts, ideas, but how do we do it? In other words, the title of this important conference, what you call innovations. How do you innovate to achieve peace? So some of my thoughts, which is very immature, I may say, just about 10 years of field engagements. In fact, the room has been very comfortable to me. I'm feeling sleepy because most of the time I'm in the field otherwise. And these 2 days I'm going to enjoy in the company of yours and in a nice environment. But most of the time these days I spend in the fields. So first of all, I think it is possible to transit. It is possible to transit from what we say imperfect market competition that we are in today to an advanced community cooperative system. And I believe that it is possible. And there are many evidences that are visible there on the field which make me think so. The 3 axioms of sustainability, or to achieve sustainability, in my understanding, are these 3. That we are interconnected. We all are interconnected. All these pieces, the objects, actors, actions across ecosystems are interconnected. Not only interconnected, but we are interdependent. We are extremely interdependent of each other. That's another axiom on which my work relies on, and a lot of my group or the group of scholars that we work together. The third and very important one is that, which is true, and you see this in our own family's experience. That's the best place to examine this. But concern for the weakest. And this is where the systems theory, modern science is evolving, the idea of systems thinking and systems theory. But concern for the weakest. And if these 3 operate, then it's easy to achieve on the ground. A simple example is here, which is about 5 years of work on the ground. We have tested it in one field, and now we have gone to 3 communities trying to do this work. And this is, you can see, it's an urban location. The soil, the condition of land is looking like this to begin with. The organic carbon is 0.33, which means it is extremely poor soil from agricultural production point of view. Now, how did this change with some intervention? This kind of land became like this in about 6 months. And in the next year, it became like this. And today, of course, it's much more beautiful. Every day I have this luxury of enjoying this beauty of colors in this farm, either from fruits or from flowers or from trees. It's very, very exciting. Every day morning I have that luxury. Of course, this farm is very close to my college where I reside and teach. So it's easy for me to travel up and down. It takes about 5 minutes to go there and come back. Now, if you look at the water issue in this farm, which is again a flatland, of course, but it's an urban location. The first year, there are some structures. I won't go into the details of how we conserve water. The first year it looked like this, and the second year it looked like this. The first year was like this, the trenches around the farm. It's a 1 hectare farm. And the second year, the ecosystem had changed. And because I'm not showing the well, the water in the well rose up to 4 feet. In fact, this year it rose up to 4 feet. Last year it was around 7, 8 feet. And initially it was around 18 feet. So water levels have gone up. We can see that after the first rain, we saw how much of water has seeped into the soil. So you see control plot, the water seepage was around 7 centimeter, and here it was around 49 centimeter. Actually, beyond 49, I didn't have any equipment to go deeper. Our hands couldn't go further. So we just, okay, we get an idea that's almost 8 times or 7 times more than the control plot. So the question is, how did this happen? What explains this phenomenon? How does this soil becomes better? And the soil organic carbon increased to 0.5 within 6 months, and it went up to 0.8 in the subsequent test that we did. So organic carbon rose by over 50% in 6 months, which is usually the organic carbon in forest systems is around 4 to 6, and our soil systems are at 0.33. So we can see the huge difference there, but this rise of 50%, scientists said it's not possible. I said, you take the test, you take the soil and test it yourself, the test results are it's fine. It's absolutely okay what you're claiming. So they tested it and they found this. So the question is, how does this happen? Does it have anything to do with these 3 axioms? The issue of interconnections, the issue of interdependence, and concern for the weakest. What we actually did is actually the third one, concern for the weakest. That's based on the first 2 axioms. If you take care of the weakest in the subsystem or ecosystem or small system, is going to produce wonderfully better. What we did here is this. We had a kind of, those of you in agriculture would understand this. This is called the mulching. So we actually had furniture, a kind of plant that grows fast, which is nutrition rich. So we grew it along with other pulses and cereals. We grew about 2-3 feet, and then we cut and put it on the soil. That's the food for microorganisms. Once we fed the microorganisms, we took care of a lot of things. There is no machine in the world which can make the soil porous when plants are on the farm. Land. It is only microorganisms which does it. So, of course, there are ways of doing to enrich provide more nutrition, cow dung, using combination of sugar, cow dung, using all this is done, it's given once in a while, and this is the basic step. The first thing is to feed the weakest in the farm. Among all the species in the farm, man is the most violent one, strongest one, supposedly because of his greed that he has in his mind, that is the strongest. But the weakest is what he has to feed, and the rest takes care of itself. Of course, I'm not going to show you all the photos, pictures, the beautiful productivity went up by 3 times in pulses. The pulses are there on this side, it went up by 3 times the national average, without any pesticides and fertilizers on the farm. So the idea of taking care of the weakest works. And in your own family experience, if you think of your children, the weakest child is what we give our all attention to. And that's natural phenomenon. But that's how do you take that into work field is a challenge. How do you make that possible in normal living systems and communities is the challenge. And the whole exercise here is, how do we look at this? How do we transit out to a more sustainable community building? So these are common principles. I think Collins was also referring to some of it. These are there all over. It's there in science, it's there in religion, it's there in philosophy, it's there in constitutions. So you see in the Vedas of India, Vasudeva Kutumbakam is a common thing. That's actually the highest point of raiders. Love your neighbors as you love yourself in Bible, the pledge was there. Golden rule of Immanuel Kant talks about the same thing. Do unto others as you want others to do unto you. So simple as that. Theory of veiled ignorance comes from John Brauch. When you take a decision, how do you go about taking decisions? And that's where veiled ignorance comes from. This is not new to most of you. You are aware of these issues. Gandhi's talisman, we are in the land of Gandhi, so Gandhi's talisman for bureaucrats, for policymakers. Whenever you are in a dilemma of taking a decision, think of the poorest man that you've ever seen in your life and see if this decision is going to help this poorest man. If it helps this poorest man, it will be fine. It will work out for everyone. Or Nelson Mandela's view when the British police asked him to join them, he said, my dear friend, you are not free if I'm not free. You cannot be free if I'm not free. Which is saying essentially that we are interconnected. So, or very interesting, the church today talks about no more anthropocentric view, but it's a world of biocentric view. That's a major shift in the church's belief that man at the center is no more the church is believing. The Pope says it, so it is better. The preamble of Indian Constitution, of course, like any other constitution, justice, liberty, equality, and fraternity. And justice, liberty, equality is possible if we have brotherhood. Fraternity, or we say bandhuta in our language. Hindi is called bandhuta. So brotherhood, which is much more stronger than just about networking, is much more deeper. So the principles are there, and we see that in practice, and it's all about, all these principles are nothing but these three aspects: interconnections, interdependence, and caring for the weakest. Now, in my paper tomorrow, I will discuss more what are the limitations of this framework, where essentially necessarily presumes that we are independent of each other, the goals are drawn independently, and that national figures of no hunger will tell us that we are such communities are okay. So there are these issues. These three aspects are not built in well. It has typically adopted a reductionist scholarly ways of understanding the reductionist way of understanding a problem. That is necessary for science. Reductionism is necessary for science, but it's not enough for co-creation. It is integration of those reductionist understandings that will help us to create our systems. But I won't go. So what we do here in our research is we look at these 5 dimensions, and the community that I refer to in the Indian context or in any part of the world, in Sri Lanka it's maybe called GN. In India it's called Gram Panchayat. In different parts of the world we have different units, basic political boundaries. That's what people understand, but actually it is about micro watersheds. It's about building communities around micro, which is a water system, which is a life system, which is an ecosystem. But since that people don't understand those boundaries, we take a smallest political boundary as a unit. And in that unit, we look at all these 5 aspects of looking at issues of relationships, social capital, or ostrom, or many others that rely on that issues. Institutions, both formal and informal institutions, production systems, starting with, of course, primary production system is your agriculture. Of course, it also goes into secondary production and subsequently tertiary, but we have not got that now. Organizations, how do you organize? How do you design organizations? We talk about collectives, and of course, how do you have local governance systems? So these are the 5 aspects we look at in a community, and there are many dimensions to each of this. I will not go into the depths of it, but these are different times. There are around 25 areas, and the challenge has been for us is that we are living in this mainstream. What we are looking for is probably are these. And even if we are okay on one aspect, if we are not okay on the other aspects, we can't strand it out. So, for instance, the sense of interdependence is actually very low in highly specialized work organizations. We can do things on our own, so there's no need of interdependence. But you need for peaceful existence, it is about high interdependence, and that arises out of trust, cooperation, and love. Now, these are the technical contradictions we are living in. And how do we, whether it is on the relationships or it's about production system, all farmers, just not in India, farmers are committing suicide in England, in US, in Australia, in New Zealand. This is the condition of production system. So therefore, global agricultural scientists are talking about agroecology. Agriculture is more like ecological systems, aping nature. Agriculture to ape more of nature. So I'm closing it. Yeah. So these are the challenges, technical challenges. So what we do here is, if you work on all these 5 simultaneously, the SDG goals, which may be a parameter to say sustainability or moving towards peace, can be achieved multiple times and not very expensive. Just within about 2,000 rupees per person per year for 5 years. There are detailed calculations, processes. I take about 3 days to train senior development executives to explain and actually go about how to do it. There's a whole process. It's very simple. It can be doable, but it's all the clarity in understanding how to plan. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Amar. Let me say just a few words in conclusion. According to my memory, Gandhi made a very important statement saying, "Be the change you want to see in the world." We have received a lot of ideas of peace contextualized in different disciplines, of city planning, psychology, trauma research, geography, disaster research, international management, and sustainable systems. We're also trying to arrange the panel in a regional balance. So half of the speakers were from the host country, but there were also half of them female and male. So we're trying to look at the gender balance to overcome the dominance of men. So I think it's very important jointly to work together on this much wider contextualization of peace and to see how the ideas of change we want to see the world in. We have to develop the ideas. And this is what these researchers are doing. But be open to the experience of other disciplines. That's what we have tried to present you. The relevance of other disciplines for our area. And we have also, several of you have addressed the need for action research. So that means to move gradually from the traditional pattern of the purely disciplinary, the interdisciplinary, to the multidisciplinary, but also to the transformative research, where the transformation itself, the sustainable transformation to the UN goals Amar just referred to, are part of the research design. So I think jointly, from our different cultural, religious, and geographic positions, coming from different parts of the world, we just live on one globe. And we all know how serious environmental impacts are. We know that in Delhi, the life expectancy is probably 10 years shorter due to the impact of pollution, which has also an impact on climate change. So I think we all have to bring our ideas together and to contribute in a peaceful way to the national learning and decision making to avoid that the worst implications of non-action occur. What we have to aim at, I would call it a good anthropocene. If we are the threat that causes this, only we can be the solution. And as scientists, I think we can make a tremendous contribution as socially responsible scientists, to the change we want to see in the world as Gandhi has taught us. Thank you so much.